What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk to you about two of the best value for money flight chronographs from Japanese brands. First, the Seiko Flight-master. Secondly, the Citizens Blue Angels. I'm going to review each one of these individually, and then I'll kind of tell you whether you should lean towards more one or the other. But when I say best value for money, you can get these watches near the entry level $250 to $500 price range depending where you look. I'm going to start off with the Seiko Flight-master. I mean, looking at it straight on, just look how beautiful that dial is. Matte black finish. It's a 42 millimeters across. It's kind of an interesting lug to lug for this metal bracelet. It's 21 millimeters, which is not a common size. Usually it'd be 20 or 22. And the thickness is just a hair under 13 millimeters thick. But really nice job on the finishing. You can see it has a crown in the middle and two pushers on the side. All of these are screw down function, which helps it keep its 200 meter water resistance, which is very nice. Now, if you look at the crystal itself, you can kind of see if I hold it at an angle, it's actually a domed mineral crystal. It's Hardlex crystal, which is Seiko's proprietary crystal that's scratch resistant, not as much as sapphire, but it's very shatter resistant, very durable. You can see there's also a bit of a depth to the dial too. It's how it slopes inward from the outside. You can see that there's also a bezel surrounding it with calculations. This is bi-directional, so you can move it either way. I don't know how to perform the calculations myself, but I'm assuming they're more related to navigation or fuel if you're a pilot. Looking at the three subdials of this watch, starting at the top, you have a minute hand. At the bottom, you have an alarm feature. Then on the right-hand side, you have the seconds subdial. You can see that the yellow second hand at the 12 o'clock, that's the chronograph function. And the way it works, like most chronographs, if you push down on the first top pusher here, it will start the chronograph. And I love the sweep of that seconds hand. It actually looks like it's a mechanical watch, the way it's sweeping, even though this is a quartz piece. But then you can press that pusher again to stop it, and then hit the bottom pusher just to reset it. And that's essentially how you get the chronograph function. You can also see that there's a date window at the 3 o'clock position. And then again, I'll just move around the watch. Very nice steel bracelet that it came on, actually. You have the signed Seiko logo. And then to actually release it, it's a double push button deployment like so. If you flip it around, you can look at the case back. It's a screw down case back, just Seiko logo in the middle with some basic reference and water resistant information on the case back. So overall, very nice piece. I'll just throw it on the wrist again one more time really quickly, just because I want you to appreciate just how nicely it sits on the wrist. Again, I did mention it's 42 millimeters across. This actually wears smaller, it wears more like a 40. And I think that has to do with the short lug to lug distance. From lug to lug, it's only 44 millimeters. So it really just hugs your wrist really nicely. So overall, very, very good watch. Now I should mention, this watch did come on a blue leather band. It didn't hold up very well, unfortunately, so I got this NATO strap on it. And again, just right off the bat, looking at the dimensions, the lug distance here isn't your typical distance. It's 23 millimeters, which would normally be a 22 or 24. And this actual NATO strap is actually 24, and I just basically had to really squeeze it. It was really cumbersome, but I was able to thread it through the lugs here. And so, I mean, I think it complements the watch really nicely. Now looking close up on the dial here, very nice blue effect. I mean, hence Blue Angels. It does have an inner bezel, which actually rotates on this pusher here. You can actually rotate that for time and calculations as well. looking at the crystal, this is actually a scratch resistant sapphire crystal, and it's completely flat. You can see there. Very nice. And again, moving around to the other side, you can see you have the three pushers. You have a crown in the middle, and then you have the chronograph pushers at the top and the bottom here. Now, the way this chronograph works is if you push the top one here, the yellow seconds hand just stops at the 12 o'clock position. And then if you push it again, you'll start recording the time. Now, the subdial layout is slightly different than the Seiko Flight-master. At the top, you have your minutes. At the bottom, what's really nice is you actually have this at millisecond time. You can see how quickly it's rotating at the bottom. And then on the left-hand side, you have a 24-hour timer. And then again, if you want to stop it, you just push it once. You can see that it stops, and the milliseconds at the bottom subdial also stops. And then you push this bottom pusher, it resets it. And then you push the bottom one more time, and it goes back to counting the normal time. Now, if you look at, there are some extra features with each of the subdials on the left and right hand sides as well. If you're not using the chronograph function and you just press the bottom pusher, what it does is the seconds hand goes to the local time you're at. The top one, you can see there's a power reserve indicator that indicates it's full. And the bottom one is the radio controlled function, and it was pointing to the OK box. Just saying that it does sync with the radio controlled function, which I'll discuss in a second. If you look on the right hand side of the subdials on the top and bottom, you can see that, well, let's talk about the bottom ones. It's actually kind of cool. This is a perpetual calendar on this watch. So it's pointing, you can't really see it that well. It's being blocked by the hour hand. But it tells you the day of the week. And the bottom one is pointing to M, which would be Monday. And then again, you can see the date window is on the 3 o'clock position. And because this is a citizen watch, it has the eco drive functionality, so it recharges the battery anytime you expose it to any light source. But it's also perpetual calendar, as I mentioned. It keeps track of the days of the week and what month you're in, and it tells you the date. And because it's radio controlled, you can see it says radio controlled. On the left hand side there. What it does is actually syncs to the atomic clock, and it keeps perfect time. So I mean, this is like one of the most accurate watches you can buy for the money. More accurate than any mechanical watch you can buy. This is also a slightly larger face, 43 millimeters compared to the Seiko, which is 42. And the thickness is slightly thinner. The Seiko was about 13 millimeters thick. This is just under 12. So nice and thin. So now I'm going to discuss both of them side by side and kind of just give you my thoughts on like what situation would you prefer one over the other. I mean, honestly, they're both great watches, so I mean, you can't go wrong with either. But I mean, because the Seiko on this side here is slightly smaller, we're slightly smaller. If you have a smaller wrist, I would maybe recommend that over the Citizen Flight Blue Angels. Also, it seems to be slightly more durable because it does have that hardlex crystal, and just I think the finishing with the metal bracelet as well, it just lends it to being slightly more durable, and I've abused this watch a lot, and it holds up very, very well. When would you take the Citizen over the Seiko? Well, if you're more of a jet setter, you're flying across multiple time zones, maybe you like to dress up and dress down a lot more, this might be the watch you lean towards, just because it has a slimmer profile. You know, it's sapphire glass, a little flat. You can dress it up, dress it down a little better. And because of the multi-time zone function on it, I don't think I mentioned it, but you can actually keep track over 20 different time zones with this watch. So that might make it a better value in that situation. But again, both are excellent watches, great value for the money. I highly recommend both. Hopefully you guys like this quick review. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time.